You guys, last week was a crazy week. Sometimes when it rains, it pours, and that's what happened. So I'll just preface it. Reading through the Book of Kings like we've been doing, you see a lot of the faults of the leadership of the kings and stuff like that. And you see when things begin to go really terribly wrong, the ones that just keep doing what they're doing, right? And then you see other ones that when things start going wrong, they humble themselves and they do kind of a self-introspection and they talk to God and say, hey, where am I at? King Hezekiah, for example, when he was told that he was going to die, he humbled himself and he prayed and talked to God, and God extended his life 15 more years, And Josiah, same thing. He found out that the book of that he was trying to do what was right before God, but then when they were cleaning out the temple, they found out the book of the law, and he was like, man, we really messed up. And he knew things were going to get really troublesome for him. And God heard his prayer because he humbled himself and said, the things that I've said are not going to happen in your lifetime because you chose to do right. Anyway, so it rained and it poured this last week. So as you guys know, you don't know this. First, my wife got a ticket, right? And I don't mind a ticket if you earned it, right? But she was there was 3 cars at a red light, and it was a left turn lane. She was the third car. The light turned green, and she says as she was going through, when she was in the middle of an intersection, it turned yellow. Well, there was a cop there on the corner, and he pulled her over and said she ran through a red light. And she was like, she was like, I don't mind if I did it, she said, but she didn't argue with him or anything. It was a real respectful, conversation, but he wrote her the ticket anyway. And this is like her first real offense, so she was really hurt behind it. And I get it. Unjustly, of course you're going to be upset. But she texted me, she said, I got a ticket. And I said, honey, don't worry about it. I said, just be, and you know me, I always try to find the good in every situation. I said, you know what? We have the money to take care of it. Just be thankful, that we have the money to take care of it. There's nothing you can do about it. Don't let it ruin your day. Enjoy your day. And then she gave me a little heart back or whatever. And so, cool. And then the very next day, my son breaks his arm, right? And our insurance sucks because my wife has it through the school, so I knew it was going to be real expensive, but it's okay, we're going to be okay. And then I was doing some home improvement stuff, so installing some light switches, some smart switches, which I've done it before. I did it on my parents' house, did it on my house. I got some new ones, and I also got a Nest, one of those smart thermostats. So I got it. I was hooking it up. I've done thermostats before too, and it wouldn't work. I plugged it in, and it wouldn't light up. And I was like, what is the deal? And so I saw it had a plug in the back. I plugged in a USB, charged it, and so then it powered up. Okay, it's powering up. For about 5 minutes, plugged it back in, and it worked for about 5 minutes, and then it shut down. I was like, what the heck? So I called customer support, and I called them, talked to them about it. They said, well, plug it in for 30 minutes. So I did that, and it worked for about 10 minutes. And then I call them back. I'm like, hey, it's not working. You got a defective one. So just send it, take it back where you got it, get a new one. So I did that. And sure enough, the next one worked fine. The smart switches, same kind of deal. Got it, hooked it up, and it wasn't functioning properly. Sent it back. They sent me a new one, hooked it up. The new one wasn't working properly, so there's got to be something. So anyway, there's some weird things going on with the wiring in my house. Long story short, I figured it out. It worked. Awesome, right? And buttoned it up, make sure everything was working properly before I buttoned it up. So I buttoned it all up, put everything back, got the plate on there, flipped the breaker switch, and pop, pop, smoke coming out. And I was like, oh, crap. I knew what happened. A breaker went bad. The breaker went bad. There was a short in something. So anyway, I went back to the wire. I looked at it, and what happened was I didn't cut the wire. The wire had a little bit of where the sheath was exposed. When I shoved it in, a little bit of that sheet hit another wire that a little bit of the sheath wasn't covering it. So I should have cut the wire we're talking like 2 millimeters shorter, right? And they touched and zapped it. And then I know a little bit about, breakers. So breakers can usually be $5 to $60. So I was like, okay, mine was the $60 one, the most expensive breaker. So I'm like, okay, whatever, So I had to get a guy come out. We got it all fixed up. They fixed it. They left. And then as soon as they left, 2 minutes later, it quit working. I'm like, what the heck, right? So I called him. I was like, hey, man, something went wrong. Come to find out, the breaker they got had a little bit different connection, so it just slid out a little bit. So when I went to the deal to unscrew the box, I saw that it slipped out. So they were like, okay, they had to get a different breaker. They got a different breaker. Everything worked good, So all of this, right, coming down, I was like, which, it's nothing real major, but all of it's like all at once. I was like, okay, God. I said, are you trying to show me something? Did that introspection thing, right? And I'm just showing you guys my process. usually when things like that happen, sure, it can be just circumstance. One, it could be just God trying to get your attention. And two, it could be just the enemy, coming against you, So I was like, okay, God. So I humbled myself. I prayed. I decided to fast, because I was like, God, if I'm moving in the wrong direction, I need to hear from you. I need to see what it is that I need to change. Or if I've gotten prideful, because God rejects the pride, but He gives grace to the humble. So I was like, God, I'm humbling myself. If there's anything that I'm in error, show me and let me get it right, because I want to be right before you. So that was number one thing. And then again, it could just be circumstance, and it could just be the enemy coming against us. But that's how we have to really face our situations in life. Try to find the good in every situation, right? And sometimes realize, junk's just going to happen. But when junk happens, don't just think it's junk that happens. Realize that, hey, if I have a part in this, if I played a part in this, God, show me what it is and help me to make it right. Fasting doesn't really make God hear our voice, but it makes us hear God's voice. And realizing, God, I know any success or anything that I've done good doesn't come from me. I know that I don't deserve anything that I had or any place where I'm at that's good, but it's your grace and it's your goodness on me. And if I'm doing wrong, show me what it is. And just trying to make sure that things are right in this relationship, try to make things are right in other relationships between others, and that's all we can do. But, still try to find the good in every situation. But anyway, I just want to share that with y'all for what it's worth. Anyway, love you guys. We'll pray. Heavenly Father,